Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden and we're going to head up towards Gothenburg once again. Göteborg, as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast. Still losing track of how many times I say that here on the channel, but we're going to go back to one of my favourite Swedish breweries. And the beer we're having a look at today is what they claim is the best IPA they've ever produced. And if you know this brewery, you'll know that they carry a hell of a reputation, and that makes me very excited to try this beer. So for this one then, we are going to head out to Landvetter, close to the airport, and we're having a look at yet another beer from Bryggeri. So this one is called the Sunshine Orchard, and it's a double IPA coming in at 8% ABV. This one was released as part of the Lokal och Småskaligt assortment in Systembolaget on the 1st of July 2020. And yeah, this is one of the beers that was really quite coveted in that, so I'm glad that I was able to get a hold of this one straight away. I was a little bit worried about that. But yeah, I've had some awesome beers from Bryggeri. I think the last ones that I reviewed before the hybrid one that they did with Stillwater, the last ones before that were the 15th anniversary beers, and those were really pretty interesting. In my opinion, not the not my favourite ones that I've had from them actually, but some really quirky and very interesting beers, I have to say. And this brewery originally were very well known for their kind of fruit sour beers and also the kind of porters and imperial stouts and things like that, and it's more recently that they've started to do some of the IPAs as well. So this is my first IPA from the Crush series in quite a while, so hopefully it turns out to be a good one, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Very curious to crack into this one. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Bryggeri before. No doubt you will see some more at some point in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Bryggeri then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've mentioned to you already, Bryggeri are based in Landvetter on the outskirts of Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden, and the brewery was established back in 2005 in Mölndal to the south of the city by Mikael Engström back in 2005. So these guys have been on the go for about 15 years now, one of the more established craft breweries here in Sweden. But a few years prior to this, Mikael had met an Englishman who was selling second-hand breweries, and this really got him thinking about brewing his own beer. So he went away, he studied the Swedish alcohol laws and visited various other breweries around the country, and started buying up equipment to put together his own brewery, which culminated in the opening of their first brewery in Mölndal back in 2005. The brewery continued to grow over the next few years, but by 2009 they'd outgrown their original brewery, and so they moved over to Landvetter in 2010. So the older brewery had a capacity of 1,500 hectolitres of beer per year, but the new brewery started off with a capacity of 8,000 hectolitres of beer per year, and this has been more than doubled in recent years. Over the years, the brewery became well known for their fruit and sour beers, and as I say, the imperial stouts and things like that as well. They've invested heavily in their barrel aging program recently, and then they've been doing more IPAs in recent times as well. And this brewery are also one of the owners of the two Brewers beer bars in Gothenburg as well, along with All In Brewing, who are one of the numerous gypsy breweries that you'll find in Gothenburg, and I believe the Electric Nurse Brewing also own a share in that as well, and that of course is Mikael's daughter Ida and her husband, I think his name is John if I remember rightly, that own Electric Nurse. So the Electric Nurse beers are brewed at Bryggeri. So yeah, very nice brewery, I have to say, Bryggeri. These guys probably these guys are probably, I would go as far as saying that maybe these guys are the most consistent Swedish brewery in terms of quality. They're not scared to try different styles. You'll always find some very interesting beers. These guys have done Schwarz beers, they've done imperial stouts, they've done lots of different types of sours, they've got pilsners and things like that as well, pale ales, you name it, Bryggeri have tried it. These guys, along with Bierbibliotek, I would say are maybe the most, I guess you could probably say the most prolific of the Swedish breweries actually in terms of trying different styles and putting good beers out there. I think, yeah, Bierbibliotek and Dugas Bryggeri for me are the ones that are most kind of consistent in that regard. You've got other breweries that are of course very, very good, tend to stick to one kind of certain area, but you know, Dugas are not afraid to try different styles and stuff like this, I would say. So yeah, definitely one of the Swedish breweries that you want to check out in my opinion, and one of my personal favourites, I would say. These guys were one of the first Swedish breweries that I encountered. I'm pretty sure the first beer that I reviewed from these guys was the Tropic Thunder, which is still a classic. You know, that's a very, very highly regarded Swedish sour beer actually, so I would recommend that you check that one out if you get the chance. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Dugas Bryggeri for the moment. If you want to learn more about these guys, you can check out the brewery website, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So like I said to you, this one is an 8% double IPA, part of the Crush series, which is quite nice. You can see that there, it says it on the side, Crush series double IPA. The little blurb on the side here says, the Crush series is all we have learnt during our journey towards the perfect double IPA. Hops everywhere and haze all over, fruity notes in abundance and then some. This is Sunshine Orchard, like walking in a garden, lush. So yeah, nicely presented. This one, it is just a plain gold bottle cap on this one incidentally, and there is actually a nice little story behind this beer that's on the Dugas website as well. So let me just kind of bring that up for you and just read that for you quickly. So it says, this beer was supposed to be brewed in February of 2019. It wasn't. The government shutdown in the United States meant that we couldn't get the labels approved. We had to rethink. Now, however, in May of 2019, the United States government isn't shut down. That must be a type. No, that won't be a typo. I was thinking it was May 2020 they meant. But yeah, now, however, in May of 2019, the United States government isn't shut down. Labels can be approved and the beer can be brewed. When we can export beer to the US from Sweden, we only export beer that travels well. That means imperial stouts and sours. Still, we want people in the US to try our take on the hoppy stuff as well. So together with 12% Beer Project, we've started to explore ways for us to brew these kinds of beers closer to where they're enjoyed. We've had all the chats, we found a nice spot, and now it's time to get going. Sunshine Orchard is our first US brewed double IPA. We hope you like that. But obviously this version has been brewed in Sweden, so I'm not sure if they'll be brewing, I'm not sure exactly where in the States they will be brewing actually. I'll need to find that out for the next video. Maybe they'll be doing something with Stillwater Artisanal or something like that, using the same facility as them. That's what I would suspect. But yes, it says that this beer over in the States, it's available in a 473ml can, which is the equivalent of 1 US pint. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. That was the text that's available on the Dugas website, so definitely cool to learn that these guys are brewing some of their IPAs under contract or whatever over in the States. That must be pretty cool. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one, 330ml. I think I paid about 35 or 40 crowns for this one, so in American dollars that is about $4 for the bottle. And in euros, yeah, about €4. In pounds, maybe £3, yeah, about £3.30 or something like that. But yeah, sugar the last little bit up and get that in. But yeah, look at this. I think this beer is going to be pretty damn awesome. Sunshine Orchard double IPA, 8% ABV. So yeah, as you can see with this one, this is poured a lovely bright kind of yellow colour. That is very, very hazy. Yep, you'll see if I stick my fingers behind the glass there, you'll see this one is pretty damn hazy. Of course, the thing is, when you go up the scale with these New England IPAs, these hazy IPAs, you'll get soupier and gloopier and all of this because of the higher wheat content and oak content in the malt base. But yeah, it's definitely not the... I've seen ones that are soupier and gloopier than this, but this one is starting to get up there into the soupy and gloopy kind of scale, I would say. But yeah, in terms of the head on this one, I would say it was about a third finger of a frothy white head there. There's one or two little bubbles kind of going up towards the surface there as well, but the head is very quickly fading away to be a very thin foamy layer. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there, but you know, overall it is a pretty nice looking beer, this one, I have to say. As I say, if I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this one is pretty damn thick and hazy actually, so I really like how this goes together. But yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma on this one then and see how we get on. Nothing particularly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance. Definitely one of the brighter yellow leaning New England IPAs that I've tried in recent times. So let's look at that aroma then. Oh yeah, that smells really nice actually. Yeah, I think that this is a bit special, this one. So first thing you're going to notice about this, it's got a lovely kind of oaty, creamy edge to it, which I really like. I mean, from what I remember, the Dugas IPAs were always very soft and very creamy. They did release a couple that had a bit of rice in the malt base as well, which I thought added a nice slight sweetness to the malt base as well. But they've got a lovely, the Dugas IPAs, as I say, they've got a lovely base to them. If you go to the brewers' beer bars, you can try some of the the Crush and the Fresh series on tap. I forget which one it is that uses the Greek letters of the alphabet as the naming system for them. But yeah, you've got some lovely, the IPAs that these guys are producing are awesome. I just wish they could release more of them through Systembolaget actually, that would be awesome. If they did one a month like OO Brewing are doing, that would be great, I would love that. But yeah, the aroma coming off of this is awesome. So I mean, straight away with this one, we'll talk about the malt base first. This one really isn't doing anything surprising in terms of aroma, I will say that about it straight away. If you know the style, you're not going to be overly surprised by this, but the aroma is just so nice. It really is just very, very nice. So straight away with this one, you get a nice you can smell the oaty creaminess out of this one straight away. It's got a lovely kind of pale malty base to it. You do get a little bit of bitiness from the wheat, but I would say that takes a back seat in comparison to the kind of creamier and oaty notes out of this one. It's lovely. The malt base on this one is very, very nice, I have to say. There is a wee bit of a biscuity sweetness to it, like a McVitie's Digestive-y type thing, but I'd say that again, that takes a bit of a back seat to the oaty creaminess that the beer has. Yeah, it strikes me as a very kind of oaty leaning New England IPA, this one, rather than anything else. But that malt base is really nice, as I say, a bit of the stronger wheaty notes, a bit of the more bitey wheaty notes at the back of the nose, lovely oaty creaminess to it, a little bit of a sweet biscuity note, and you've also got a bit of a kind of pale malty base to it as well. The aroma coming out of this beer is very, very nice actually. So yeah, this one I think is a really, really solid smelling double IPA. The malt base, if you've watched the channel before, you will know that I've got a big thing when it comes to the malt bases. I love beers that are nice and balanced and you get a good bit of malty character out of them, so I think this one will maybe be right up my street actually. But yeah, in terms of the hoppy side of things then, let's look at that. There's a tiny little bit of earthiness to this one, but not a lot. Nice bit of floral aromaticity, but I think this one really leans towards the grassy end of the spectrum. There's something that's telling me that in this one, I think this might be, it's really kind of softly hopped actually. I mean, I've got a feeling there might be Idaho 7 in this one, just because of how soft the tropical fruits are. It's got that lovely kind of, you've got the apricot-y notes coming out of this one. You've got a really soft kind of passion fruity, mango-y, papaya type thing. I've got a feeling this might be like Citra. I've got a feeling it might be Citra Idaho 7. Could it be a bit of Victoria's Secret or something as well? I don't know. If it's brewed over in the States, I think it is a bit more likely that it's only American hops that are in it. But yeah, this one to me, the fruitiness, when you sugar the beer up, you do get a little bit more of a kind of tropically pungency out of it, in fairness. So you do, when you sugar the beer up, you do get a little bit more of a kind of stronger note from the passion fruit. But to me, this beer really leans towards that softer mango, the papayas, bit of an apricot-y note in it. These really kind of softer tropical fruits actually. That's where it really leans for me. It's got a few kind of, there's almost a little bit of a kind of gooseberry-ish note to this one as well. Yeah, it's got a wee bit of that in it, maybe a very slightly kind of peary type thing as well. You've got a little bit of those lighter kind of gooseberry kind of notes into it. It really does remind me a little bit of, it's like some of the complexities you get from Citra. I wouldn't be surprised if there is Citra in here, and that's what's giving it that slightly stronger kind of passion fruit. It could also be Simcoe. Simcoe can give you a very soft type aroma like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe Citra Simcoe and then Idaho 7, and maybe Victoria's Secret as well, because Victoria's Secret can give you these sort of softer tropical fruit notes as well. As I say, I always like playing Guess the Hops when it comes to the aroma on the beers. It's always quite fun to play these kind of games. But yeah, there is just something that's telling me Idaho 7 in this one, and something that's telling me either Simcoe or Victoria's Secret. Could well be wrong, right enough. There's so many hops out there these days, it's difficult to keep up with. But yeah, to me it's a very soft, kind of tropically note, this one. I don't get too much in the way of orangey citrus or anything out of this one. There is a wee bit of a slightly orangey citrusy character to it, but not a lot for me actually. The other thing is it could be, the other thing it could be in that case would be Sabro, because Sabro gives you a lot of tropical fruit notes, but it also gives you coconut, and in fairness I don't get the kind of coconutty type notes you get out of Sabro actually. So yeah, this is an interesting one, this, and you have to remember as well the recipe is a year older, so I don't know how prominent Sabro was at that time. I think it was just starting to come out about a year ago. But yeah, really interesting aroma to this one. As I say, very soft and juicy and tropical. It's got a lovely kind of soft and smooth malt base to it, and it's leaning towards the grassier side of things in terms of the green side of hops. So a lovely aroma coming out of this beer. Take a bit of time to enjoy that before you get stuck into it. But yeah, this one is the Sunshine Orchard, a member of the Crush series from Dugas Bryggeri in Gothenburg here in Sweden, an 8% double IPA. Let's get stuck into this one and see how we get on. Slàinte, skål. Beautiful smelling beer. And I have to say it's a beautifully tasting beer as well. That's lovely. This is one of these ones where it comes across in the flavour pretty much as you would kind of expect it from the aroma. You do get ones that will throw up a few surprises and things like that, but this is one of these beers that tastes exactly as you would expect if you think about the aroma. And I have to say to Dugas, that is pretty damn solid. These guys, as I say, they're IPAs. If you think about the Treehouse ones that you get over, Treehouse, they are from Charlton, if I remember rightly, Charlton, Massachusetts. They're out to the west of Boston. They've got the softer kind of oaty type vibe to them, whereas Trillium obviously have the bitey or wheaty kind of vibe, and the other two breweries, Alchemist and Hill Farmstead, they've got the more farmhousey type thing. But yeah, this one's got a lovely soft kind of creamy thing to it. So if you like the Treehouse type beers, you will enjoy the Dugas IPAs. These guys are doing some really, really nice stuff, as I say. And personally, it's something that I take quite good comfort in. I've tried some of the really hyped American breweries, and then you see what some of the Scandinavian breweries are producing as well. Like these guys, Apex, Stigbergets, OO Brewing, Omnipojo have done a few things. The New Sweden from Opigårds as well, and there's other various small breweries kind of popping up doing New England IPAs as well. In Denmark you've got a load of very good breweries as well that can do these styles. It just goes to show you the quality of the beers we have here in Europe. The quality of brewing in Scandinavia, personally, I think is up there with what's going on in America. It's great, and to try beers like this, having tried some of the American ones, it just shows you the standard of brewing that we do have over here. But yeah, this is lovely. So yeah, let's try and break this down a bit then. So straight away with this beer, you can feel a bit of that kind of pale malty quality just blanketing the middle of your tongue. The one thing I will say is that the more you drink this beer, the wheatiness does actually come out a little bit more and more. I think the wheaty bitiness in this beer does build a little bit, but you still get the lovely kind of soft, creamy notes that I was talking about as well. If you go towards the back third of your palate, there's a lovely kind of wheaty bitey quality to this one. You will get that kind of just coming off the back of your palate there, and I think yeah, the back third of your tongue pretty much is all wheaty and bitey, if you like, and then as you move further forward into that middle third of your tongue, that's where it all that's where everything just kind of sits and fits together. Actually, I really like that about this one. But yeah, in terms of the centre of your palate, then, as I say, you've got a bit of that. You can feel a little bit of the wheatiness just kind of underneath it. Then you can feel a bit of a smoother kind of pale malt there on top of it, but then you really start to get the kind of oaty creaminess there. It's almost like you've got a little kind of island in the middle of your tongue there. It's almost like it's kind of like your middle of your tongue is like a bowl. So the base of the bowl is the wheat, then on top of that you've got a bit of pale malt, and then on top of that you've got the kind of oaty creaminess. And I would say as you move further forward a little bit, you do get a bit of a slightly sweeter character out of the oats. You can feel the oats just kind of creeping forward a little bit, and you start to get that more kind of creamy vibe out of them. But you've also got a little bit of a biscuity, a McVitie's digestive biscuity type quality that pushes its way out of this beer the further you go into the aftertaste as well. There is a slight sweetness develops from this one the further you go into the aftertaste with it. And the interesting thing for me with these double IPAs, the New England ones especially, not such a problem with the more kind of caramelly and biscuity West Coast ones. You know, with these ones, you really get, you can feel the stronger the beer tends to go, the more you need the wheat. You need a bit of that wheaty bitiness just to kind of cover the booziness and things. Whereas I have always found with there are obviously exceptions to the rule, but I think with the New Englands you really have to add like a biscuit malt or a caramel or something to them. If you start to go above, say, 8.5%, you've really got to give the beer a little bit of a kind of brown sugary kind of sweetness to it, rather than just relying on the creaminess of the oats and the bitiness of the wheat to cover the booze. And it's an interesting point that, and I noticed that first with the brewski beers from here in Skåne. You know, when they started to go above the 8.5%, you really started to feel the booze out of these. So 8% I think is a good it's a good sort of borderline, if you like, for these New England double IPAs. Of course, you have got other breweries who've gone above this, but I tend to find the triple New England IPAs, these are better when they've got a bit of that kind of you know, when they've got a bit of a kind of brown sugary, like a Werther's originally, biscuity, or a kind of slightly caramel flavour to them. But I will say the malt base in this one is really nice, lovely and smooth, and as I say, the further you go into the aftertaste you can get more of the oaty kind of creaminess coming out of you. The wheaty bitiness does die down a little bit, but this one's got a lovely kind of smooth malt base to it, and that gets a big thumbs up from me in this one. If you go to the front corners of your palate, then just go diagonally back a little bit, there are one or two slightly woody undertones to this one. But I think it's a really nice malt base they've got in here, so well done to Dugis for this one. They've pulled it off really, really nicely. But yeah, in terms of the hoppy side of things then, in the back corners of the palate there is a tiny little bit of earthiness there, but as you come further forward along the sides of the palate you can feel it does very quickly develop to be quite floral and aromatic. There's a little tiny touch of a kind of spicy note to it, but I would say it's more aromatic rather than anything else. And as you go around the front curve of the palate, the floral notes do spread into there a little bit, but I think it gets a little bit more lighter and grassy. And again, I would say that the floral notes do build a little bit the more you drink it. This beer, it does get a little bit more kind of floral and bitey in my mind. But then behind the front curve of the palate, behind the kind of lighter grassy notes, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters start to push their way out behind the beer. And on that border between the front third of the tongue and the middle third of the tongue, you've got a nice kind of oaty creaminess coming out of this beer, which I think is nice. You do get a little bit of an almost more bready quality, an oaty bready type quality there between the malty side of the beer, forming the border between the malts and the fruity side of things. So yeah, on the fruity side of things then, if you go towards the back of that front third of your tongue, there's a bit of that slightly stronger, more pungent, almost passion fruity type flavour. So yeah, you do get a little bit of that in there, but then as you move further forward from it, you start to get the kind of softer notes. I mean, very quickly from the darker passion fruit, it goes to being more mango. Then quickly you'll start to get more kind of, you get a bit more of a mango-y, you get like an apricot-y, papaya type note out of it. I don't get pineapple out of this one. I would say it's a more kind of, there's maybe a little touch of a slightly sharper peachy note to this one, in fairness as well. There maybe is a little bit of a peachy quality in there. I do wonder if Idaho 7 is one of the hops in this, I really do, because it has that lovely kind of soft tropical note to it. But yeah, I think maybe, I've got a feeling maybe Citra in this one. I think maybe it could well be Victoria's Secret or even Galaxy or something like that, because it does have a wee bit of pungency to the pungency from the sort of stronger tropical fruits like the passion fruit, and the passion fruit is a little bit more prominent in this than it was in the aroma. So yeah, it could be you know, I could sit and play guess the hops with this beer all day, but yeah, basically you have a bit of a passion fruity note at the back. As you move further forward, it becomes more mango. There's maybe a little bit of a peachy note to it, and then you've got some of the softer, apricotty and kind of papaya-like notes coming out of this one. As you reach the front part of the palate, it maybe does have a wee touch of an, I don't know, does it have a bit of an orangey citrus? Yeah, I'd say, to be honest, I think it does have a wee bit of an orangey citrus to it. Yeah, I think on the front, the kind of front tip of your tongue, there is a wee bit of an orangey citrus in there. There's various hops you could get that from, of course, you know, Mosaic. Azaka could be a candidate for it. It might have a little bit of that in there. Azaka gives you some of these lovely tropical fruits as well. That could be a candidate. I'm not going to sit and play guess the hops all day though, but yeah, there is a wee bit, just almost right on the kind of tip of the tongue, there is a wee bit of a slightly more oily, orangey quality to it as well. Then in front of that, you start to get a few almost like slightly gooseberry-ish notes. Like it's almost like the complexities that you can sometimes get out of Citra. So I do wonder, I do think there's Citra in this. I think there is Citra, maybe Idaho 7 and potentially something else. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. As I say, I could sit and play guess the hops all day, but this one's got a nice balance between the stronger, more pungent tropical fruits, the lighter, juicier ones, a little bit of an orangey citrus at the front, and then a few lighter kind of complexities sitting on the tip of the tongue as well, and it's got a little bit of zestiness on that front tip of the tongue too. But yeah, it's a really lovely double IPA, this one. I can see why Dugas rate this so highly, because you know, in my opinion, I would rate this as a really good beer from them as well. But yeah, let's leave the tasting side of it for that. In terms of the mouthfeel, yeah, kind of top end to mid-bodied, bottom end to full-bodied, it's kind of like that. Very, very smooth mouthfeel. Like I said, the carbonation gives it a great deal of smoothness, quite a bit of creaminess, to be honest with you. Lovely, you know, I'd say overall it's quite a creamy sort of mouthfeel. There is a little touch of oiliness to it, which helps some of the fruity notes in fairness. But yeah, very smooth and very creamy and very slightly oily in my mind. In terms of hoppy bitterness, I think we're talking maybe, I think this one might be about 40 IBUs. I think it's got a little bit more than the kind of standard 30 you'll get in the style, and it's a double IPA as well, so makes sense. I think there's about 40 IBUs in this one. So yeah, good little bit of bitterness, lovely smoothness and a slight sweetness developing out of the malt base. Then you've got some lovely kind of juicy, fruity qualities coming out of the beer as well. But I mean, overall, it's really, really quite nice. And I like how this one goes together. So this one gets a massive thumbs up from me. It'd be cool to see this one become a regular in Systembolaget, because that's something that Dugas don't really have. They don't have a regular IPA, and you know, they're a very capable brewery actually, and you know, I would love to see them get a regular slot in Systembolaget with one of these IPAs. But yeah, they are, it's the sort of the gift and the curse of Dugas. They're always trying new things, they're always making new beers, but to get, you know, to get an IPA or to get an imperial stout from them at times, it can be quite difficult. I'm not sure how it is for people living in Gothenburg to get a hold of their beers regularly, but at least down here in Skåne, the only one we can really get is the black currant, or is it blackberry, the sour one, and sometimes you can get the Tropic Thunder depending on what store you go to. But yeah, I'd love to have an IPA that was accessible from these guys, or one of the imperial stouts and things. So hopefully they can make a fairly, you know, accessible IPA of some description. I'd love to see these guys have a West Coast IPA as well, because they are very capable in the New England side of things. So hopefully we can see a Dugas West Coast IPA at some point as well. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Sunshine Orchard 8% double IPA, New England, part of the Crush series at Dugas Bryggeri in Gothenburg here in Sweden. Lovely, lovely beer, this one, and I think, you know, could this be the best IPA I've had from Dugas? I've had some very, very good ones, so it's hard to say, but this one is pretty damn awesome, I can tell you that. So try this one for yourself and see what you think. I think they've done an awesome job at this one. So yeah, let's leave it at that then. The Sunshine Orchard from Dugas Bryggeri in Gothenburg here in Sweden. Thank you again for watching my beer reviews. As always, let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Dugas Bryggeri as well. We will return to these guys at some point soon. Thank you again for watching. Check out my social media, check out Dugas Bryggeri, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slanja, skull, thanks for watching, and cheers.